Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to thank each and every one of you for coming today to help dedicate this memorial.
And if nothing else, I hope that everybody that goes past that monument, past that memorial, maybe takes the time or at least thinks about the names that are on there. They died giving back to the communities, giving back, whether they were paid or volunteer, to the folks that they may not have even known. And they died doing something that they loved, and that it was their truly largest gift that they could ever give.
Hip, shoulder, thigh, lower arm.
One thing I like to offer to the group and everyone here is my humble appreciation to be honored to be the one to do a memorial for you. And I think you have to look at this. This is a very serious undertaking to do a piece to represent the worthiness and the valor and the sacrifice that these people have made. It's a humbling place to be in, to do something where art's going to mimic life.
Then we need to triangulate and beef up the structure of the piece. And then your face will just lean forward and turn down a little bit. I don't want it coming down around her head.
Right.
Okay, see, so we drop the elbow from the shoulder, wrist up, and then this is almost center line between his body coming up. Okay, thanks.
Well, it's a great honor. I mean, a lot of guys have sacrificed their lives. A lot of families have been put up through a lot, losing a loved one. It's a great honor to be involved, not only as a firefighter, but be chosen as the person who's going to be modeling and be representing all those who have fallen in the line of duty, protecting the people.
Go. Okay, good.
Members of the fire rescue personnel are faced with many dangers, and the line of duty death can occur in many ways. We've certainly had them from fighting the fires, from burns. We've had them from collapses, electrocution, and really heart attack is one of the major causes of a line of duty death, both for career and volunteer. Vehicle accidents have occurred very frequently and also a major contribution. Individuals have fallen off ladders, off the back of engines. So there's many things that have occurred that you wouldn't think of as contributed to the line of duty deaths in our state.
I am Kathy Hedrick, a committee member for the Maryland Fire Rescue Services Foundation. When my son was killed in the line of duty, I did ask, why another service? Why another memorial? This memorial will be just one stop for survivors of fallen firefighters along a very long and sometimes very difficult journey. Along this road, we learned different ways of showing how much they were loved and respected for their loyalty, dedication, and sacrifice.
As we come around, just hold this up so it stays around until we can get this.
Firemen do go to work and they don't come home. You just never show back up, you know, show up at home again. It's kind of like me. I left for work one day and didn't make it home until 6 weeks later. You know. It almost sounded like a tree breaking in half. Like just something like this tremendous crack. And the next thing I knew, I fell, and I landed, I guess it was on the first floor.
Tighten this up. You're gonna need help with this.
And then they transferred me to the burn center, and they had to do a trach and multiple skin graft surgeries and all that kind of thing. You know, so I was in the hospital for about 6 weeks.
And then maybe over that way again.
You know, you never really think that you're going to go to work and not come home. That's something that happens to the other guy. Hopefully nobody you know, and hopefully not you.
And then we're going to put this piece on where this hangs out over here.
But there is a lot of sacrifice involved with the job. And not that you don't mind, you don't mind sacrificing, because it's a job that you love. It's, you know, you go out, you do what you have to do, you hope you make it back. You know, and you go back and you get off your shift and you can't wait to come back and do it again.
The Baltimore City Fire Department has seen its share of line of duty deaths, from the most recent tragedies to those dating back to the early 1800s. One of those deaths occurred on October 26, 1866, when firefighter Charles Bertram of Engine Company 2 was fighting a fire at 246 West Baltimore Street at the Fairbanks and Company when a cornice of the building collapsed, pinning 3 firefighters and killing firefighter Bertram.
I think that in talking to a lot of firemen about their understanding and appreciation of this memorial, the one common thing is that they would like this memorial to serve is to let people know that they're heroes too, just as the military and some other people. And I think that that it's not that they want to be heroes or they demand respect. I think they're very, very benevolent, very generous in serving the community as fire and rescue people. But I don't think that the community respects and honors them as much as they should. I think they take them for granted a lot. And it would mean a lot to these people to be recognized for that. The awareness I would like for people to go away from this memorial, this sculpture with, is a greater love for their friends and their relatives and the people they live with, in the sense that it's not always going to be forever. That it's going to end one day. And nobody knows who first or how or why, but it will end one day. And to prepare them for that in a sense of fully enjoying and appreciating what they have now. And I think that's the basis of this.
One of the earliest recorded line-of-duty deaths in the state of Maryland occurred on December 22, 1840. Mr. William Carlton, a founding member of the Junior Fire Company No. 2 of Frederick, and the city solicitor, was responding to an alarm of fire at Dr. Tyler's house at the Courthouse Square in Frederick. While pulling the junior hand pumper, Mr. Carlton collapsed in the streets of downtown Frederick and died of an apparent heart attack. This information was received from a book called Jacob Engelbrecht's Diary. Mr. Engelbrecht kept a track of everything that happened in Frederick in the early 1800s, and thus this became one of the first documented line-of-duty deaths in Maryland.
I became a volunteer in order to help out in the community, and I wanted to be an EMT in order to help people in general. A couple things go through my mind when I hear about a line-of-duty death within the state of Maryland. The first thing I think about is how precious life is, even though we are all here to assist, because a majority of us are volunteers. We do have some career people who are volunteering as well, and we're giving our time to assist the community, but it hurts, like you lost a distant family member. Well, the message that I would like for the average layperson to walk away with is that these people have put themselves before anything. They lost their lives. They were public servants, and that they are to always be remembered and never forgotten.
It's a piece of clay, but it represents something. So the goal is in the end that it does have a sense of, so that when people view this, they do get a sense of spiritual connectedness, that it does have a strong meaning to them and they can relate to it. I mean, it's not unlike a song. If it lacks being connected, you know right away. And the same thing with looking at figurative work and sculpture. You don't have to be an expert in music or an expert in anatomy to know that this thing lacks soul and lacks spirit and just looks like a mannequin. Our goal is to give it a sense of what you may call or someone may call soul or that kind of a spirit. I mean, we won't quit until it gets to that point.
I got a phone call, a Nextel message from her partner riding with her that day, just screaming, meet us at the hospital.
Once I got there, I knew that there was something really going on.
It was a heart attack, and when I arrived at the hospital, there was 30 or 40 members there. There was a lot of people that knew pretty quickly.
It was an unfortunate incident, and it is unfortunately something that occurs on too regular of a basis nationwide, but you know, it's the understanding that as a whole, that we are truly a brotherhood that can come together and help each other through these things.
I definitely feel like she's watching over us. Every time I get into that driver's seat, I start thinking, you know what, if anything goes wrong, maybe she'll help us through this.
I feel that in burying a fallen hero and memorializing a fallen hero, that you could really never have closure. That's why you have a memorial, because it's open-ending. It keeps it before us that this person was once among us, was once part of the brotherhood, and still is in spirit, and that should never be forgotten.
It is important that we recognize those who have given their best, and especially those who have given their lives in service. It's a real sacrifice. Each family sacrifices with emergency workers, and especially volunteers. They miss dinners, they miss children's ball games, there's a lot of family functions that they say, excuse me, and they're gone. And when they don't return, it's frustrating for the families. But then when they recognized, and you talk with them about recognizing their loved ones, their attitude softened, and you could work through this. I think the memorial will do much to show that we do appreciate those who paid the ultimate sacrifice.
You could build a memorial to school teachers, and they affect us profoundly. And in this instance, it's a memorial for firefighters, paramedics, and what have you, and they make a different kind of sacrifice for everybody every day, require a different kind of devotion.
Even a routine event can turn tragic. Such was the case in 1907 when James A. Valentine of the Cumberland City Fire Department was demonstrating the new aerial ladder in front of over 2,000 people at the City Hall Square. On the third demonstration, as he climbed the ladder broke and he fell to his death.
The first line of duty death that I was exposed to involved volunteer Chief James Yvora from the Berwyn Heights volunteer fire department. He had responded to a motor vehicle crash on the Capitol Beltway and was struck by a motor vehicle while operating at the scene of that crash. The feeling that you have at that time is kind of hard to describe, but it's almost as if somebody literally had hit you in the abdomen with a baseball bat. It's as if your breath is taken away, the floor is pulled out from underneath of you, and it takes a few minutes to really get yourself back together and continue to do the things that you need to be doing at that time.
Words are so hard to express the emotions we all feel right now. Profound sadness mixed with a feeling of celebration.
We have the old man who's being taken apart now so we can use the clay on these other figures to fill in. And he's already been cast in bronze. Bronze is still at the foundry. And we've got the other three figures, the kneeling woman, the young boy, and the fireman, are just in the final stages of being the details finished. And this is September '05, so we've been 2 years on this now, 2 years on these figures since we started them. And then they'll be installed next June. So the foundry should get them within a month, and they'll take about 6 months to cast them in bronze, do their processing.
Suffered a fractured skull and died the next day. Died of a heart attack after he collapsed after responding to a house fire and dragging the victim out. But unfortunately inhaled chemicals to extinguish the chimney fire and died of that exposure. Fell from a ladder. Before the horses could be stopped, the rear wheels passed and crushed his head. Died as a result of injuries in building collapse. He died inside a dwelling fire. 20 firefighters were injured. 6 lost their lives. Members of the Fire and Rescue Service are often called upon to do a variety of rescues. Many times during severe weather, they're called to rescue people from high water.
And a great wall of water came down and swept the car over into the stream along with the firefighters.
One of our firemen was washed away from the car. And it was about 3 hours later that we found him clinging to an exposed gas line that had been washed out, from the floodwaters.
So there we are, we have the firefighters and the occupants of the car washed away.
In 1898, there was a major fire on Route 1 and Main Street in Laurel. It was a hotel burning down. So the Mayor of Laurel telegraphed the City of Baltimore to the Mayor of Baltimore and asked for assistance. And they sent Engine Company 10 out of Baltimore on a special train to Laurel. And when they pulled the steamer off the train, they couldn't unload the horses. So they had to pull the steamer down the grade until Main Street was only a block and a half away, or to Route 1. And as they pulled it down, firefighter Frankel, a probation fireman of 45 years from Engine 15 that had been detailed to Engine 10, the steamer run over and decapitated him. And so that, to my knowledge, was the first fallen firefighter in Prince George's County, although he was from Baltimore City.
Unfortunately, your loved ones may die, perish, without you having a chance to say goodbye. And that seemed to be the common denominator and the truth that I was willing to work with. So the sculpture is about that, everything is about that. I think almost everyone has a family where someone has passed away in an untimely manner and you didn't have a chance to say the things that you would like to say. It happened with me and my father, and so I feel strongly about this.
What would my mom say about seeing her name on the wall?
On April 2nd, 1987, Winona Crum, known locally as Winnie, a volunteer of the Walkersville Volunteer Fire Department, responded to a chimney fire just outside of Frederick. Upon arrival, it was a minor fire, but while they were there, the engine was dispatched to an auto accident very close by. Winona gave up her seat to an emergency medical technician to respond to the accident. Winnie was on the back step when suddenly the truck shifted and she fell to her death.
It would probably be something witty, but it probably would be the cliche of what most firefighters would say about that. They died doing what they were supposed to be doing. What makes her death probably so important, not any more important than any other line of duty death, but what makes it stand out is the fact that she was the first female firefighter killed in the line of duty. And she was, I believe, the second in the nation female firefighter to be killed in the line of duty. And that's almost a sign of equality for women. They could serve in the position and they could, you know, give the ultimate sacrifice in the name of the job, just like men could. And I think that was one more step in bringing us, in recognizing women and their important role in the fire service.
Volunteers, you're on call for 24 hours a day. Doesn't matter what you're doing, and it doesn't matter if it's a holiday or whatever. You can be in the middle of your Thanksgiving dinner with your family and you get a call, you have the responsibility to go. Pete was a very dependable, very involved person in the community. He always was giving of his time. He was in the middle of laying some stone. He had just mixed up a batch of mortar. Call came in. He didn't get one stone laid. He didn't know if he might be back for, an hour or 3 hours later. And Pete had his fatal heart attack. It's kind of like Pete's daughter said. My dad would say, I don't know why you're making all this fuss over me because, I was just doing my job. And that's the way he was, He wasn't one to puff out his chest and say, look at me. He was one of the guys that just got out there and did it. And he provided an example for all of us that, it's not about the recognition. It's not about the politics or anything else involved in the fire department. It's about getting the job done, and that's what he was about. We truly lost a pillar of the community when we lost Pete Buckle.
It serves as a reminder that we never forget our own.
In the state of Maryland, you can be as young as 16 years old and be an active volunteer firefighter. John W. Swallenberg was a member of the Rescue Hose Company of Annapolis. He died on September 7, 1964, while fighting a fire in a warehouse in Annapolis on Virginia Avenue. He died the day before his 17th birthday.
I think ultimately what I would want anyone that would visit the memorial to come away with is a sense of just thankfulness, if you will, that people do this job. And that it's not about the almighty dollar, but about, getting up at 2 o'clock in the morning and responding to the dumpster fire and just never knowing. You just never know.
Response to emergency calls on interstate highways can be very dangerous. Such was the case for Robert W. Humphrey, Baltimore County, Maryland, a member of the Maryland Line Volunteer Fire Department. He responded to a call on Interstate 83, attempting to cross the median to assist the victims. Firefighter Humphrey was killed when he was struck by an automobile.
The memorial means that we need to be cognizant of those who have gone on ahead of us and their acts of heroism and the fact that they were serving the community and being public servants to the community when they passed away.
My brother always knew from the day that I can remember as far back, he wanted to be a fireman. I can remember going back to Christmases when we were small, and he'd get the fire engines, he'd get the models, he'd get the turnout gear. Once he got in, it was a great day. It was one of the happiest days in all our lives because I can remember him reading that acceptance letter and he was in. It was actually after midnight before they found his body. Fire specialist Stanley Kuklinski, was injured in the fire. He received some burns. But Walter, Henry, and James all perished. So I'm sure driving to the memorial with my family, I'll be emotional the first few visits. But also I feel proud. I feel proud that my brother died doing what he loved to do. He died part of something which a lot of us don't ever get the chance to do. So when I go there, I'll know that he truly died as part of something, and this monument or memorial kind of helps represent or recognize that.
On June 26, 1977, paramedic James Nicewarner was responding to the suburban hospital in the back of the medic unit of the Rockville Volunteer Fire Department. A car came out of a side street, struck the vehicle. Paramedic Nicewarner was killed when the vehicle overturned as he was thrown out the door.
One of the firefighters came to me one day at a scene and said, would you go back? And he gave me the firefighter's name, and he said, this explosion, it was a bulk gasoline storage area, and the tank had exploded and carried over top of the firefighters, dumping gas down on them. And they said he's still standing up, but his ears are gone, and I can't bear to look at him. When I got back to him, his nose was completely burned off, his ears were burned off. The explosion apparently ripped his helmet off, and the gasoline dumped down on him, and just completely blistered his head. His hair was gone, his eyebrows were gone, and I just had to choke and try to help him. He was really serious, but he survived, and this was more stressful than death, really, the dealing with that.
All fire departments at some level are really grappling with the same issues. And a line of duty death is one of those issues. And it doesn't matter when that occurs, whether you've been on a department one day, 1 year, or a career's worth of time. It impacts us all significantly. We all want to reach out and support those involved, whether they're near you or on the other side of the country.
Even after death, if you're remembered, if your story is repeated, if your name, even a simple name, is seen on a wall somewhere, you're really never gone. There's always a story behind it. And that's why that memorial is so important. And I think it's a great gift to the state of Maryland and to the fire service in Maryland.
Today is a celebration of the lives and honor the sacrifice of the 376 men and women whose names are inscribed on the wall. They are mothers and fathers, husbands and wives, sisters and brothers, neighbors, friends, fellow workers, both career and volunteer fire and EMS personnel.
The fire rescue service in Maryland is a very proud tradition. It's a passion to serve your community. It's certainly dangerous. It's a challenging and rewarding career, whether volunteer or career. And it's really a fraternity, a brotherhood and a sisterhood that's international in scope. You really have a feeling for your fellow firefighter when there is a line of duty death. It's a part of your family that it's happened to. But it is a very rewarding occupation. It's a very rewarding sense of serving your fellow man.
At the groundbreaking ceremony last September, I told you a memorial service begins a very long and very difficult journey for all of us. And along this journey, we learn many ways to honor our fallen heroes, and that this is the ultimate show of love. You have given us a most precious gift, honoring, respecting, and loving what my son and all fallen firefighters have given, their lives, to protect and save each and every one of us.
I would like to thank you all for helping make my dream come true.
The memorial sculpture itself is made not only for those that's made the ultimate sacrifice for us, but it's also for the living, for the families to have a place to go to say goodbye, to reach out.
When people come to see the memorial, I truly hope that they get the sense of the commitment, the dedication, and the true honor of service, the brotherhood and the sisterhood, the real family of the Fire and Rescue Service of the state of Maryland.
Whenever a fallen hero is given the ultimate, and no matter what denomination, what ethnic group, and how that fallen hero is honored, that taps is always played last.
It is our greatest hope that no more names will have to be inscribed on these walls, but we know that is not so.
Heaven must have needed you. That has to be why you couldn't stay. But you had to go too soon and too far away. You were a friend to me. You were family. There's one last thing I'll ask you to be. Will you be my angel, my angel? Swing low over me tonight. Will you be my angel, my angel? Surround me with your light. Help me fly, break my fall, whatever angels do. I just want to be close to you. My angel. Now that chapel nearly overflowed with all of us you carried in your heart. And even though your soul had flown, you'd left each one of us apart. You tried to take care of the ones you loved. I guess you needed wings to get it done. Will you be my